Sutra. The Buddha was dwelling in the city of RAJAGRHA. Sastra. This phrase must be explained now. Question. Why is it said that the Buddha was dwelling at RAJAGRHA instead of describing the teachings of the prajnaparamita directly? Answer. The author mentions the place, the time, and the individuals so that people will trust his story. Vihara. What is meant by dwelling? 1. The 4 bodily positions. Sitting, lying, walking, and standing are called dwelling. The Buddha takes up these positions to frighten Mara's troops and so that his disciples will rejoice and enter into all kinds of dhyanas. 2. Furthermore, there are 3 dwellings. Divine abodes, the abode of Brahma and the abode of the saints. The divine abodes are the abodes of the 6 classes of the gods of desire. The brahmaviharas are the abodes of the Brahma gods, etc. Up to the gods who are neither with nor without perception. The abodes of the saints are the abodes of the Buddhas, the pratyekabuddhas, and the Arhats. Of these 3 types of abodes, the Buddha chooses the Vihara. But here, out of compassion for beings, he abides in the city of RAJAGRHA. 3. Furthermore, 3 things, generosity, discipline and good thoughts constitute the Vihara. Of the 4 limitless minds, loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity constitute the brahmaviharas. The 3 samadhis, namely, emptiness, signlessness and wishlessness are called Vihara. The Buddha dwells in the Viharas. 4. Finally, there are 4 kinds of abodes. Vihara, Brahmavihara, Vihara, and Buddhavihara. We have already spoken about the first 3. As for the Buddhaviharas, these are the innumerable samadhis such as the heroic walk, the 10 powers, the 4 fearlessnesses, the 18 special attributes of the Buddha, omniscience, and wisdoms of all kinds. It is also the 84,000 baskets of the Dharma, the means of saving men. These various Buddha qualities are the places inhabited by the Buddha. The Buddha abides there. The brief description of the viharas is finished. RAJAGRHA. Question. The great cities such as Chopoti, Kia Pi Lo Pio, Kapilavastu, and Polonai are all royal residences. Why does this city alone bear the name of RAJAGRHA? Answer. 1. Some people give the following explanation. A king of Mokieto, Magadha, had a son who, although he had but a single head, had 2 faces and 4 arms. The people took this as a bad omen. The king therefore cut off the baby's head and abandoned the body in the jungle. Lilo, Lila, rejoined the 2 parts of the body and nursed the child with her own milk. In the course of time, he grew up and became a man. His strength was so great that he was able to conquer the kings of other kingdoms. He owned the whole world and took all the kings, in the number of 18,000 men, and established them in the midst of 5 mountains. By means of his great power, he governed Yenphati. This is why the inhabitants of Jambudvipa give these mountains the name City of the King's Residence. 2. Others say the following. In the city in which the king of Magadha lived, there were fires. Each time the city burned down, it was rebuilt. This happened 7 times. The people of that country were overwhelmed by the work imposed upon them. Saddened and fearful, the king assembled all the wise men and asked their advice. Some said that he should change the location of the city. The king therefore sought out a place where he could settle. He saw these 5 mountains which formed an enclosure like a wall. He built his palace there and settled in the center of this place. This is why this place is called City of the King's Residence. 3. Here is another explanation. In times past, there was in this kingdom a king called Piosu who renounced worldly things, went forth from home and became a recluse. At that time, the Brahmins who were still householders and the hermits who had left the world had a debate. The Grasta Brahmanas said, according to the sacred texts, in the offerings to the gods, living beings must be killed and their flesh must be eaten. The prajnaparamita answered. When sacrifices are made to the gods, living beings must not be killed and their flesh should not be eaten. The debate went on between them. The prajnaparamita said, "There is a great king here who has left the world to become a recluse. Would you trust him?" The Brahmaviharas replied that they would trust him, and the others said, "We will take this man as arbitrator and tomorrow we will go to question him." That same night, the Brahmaviharas went in advance to the hermit Vasu and, after having asked him all the questions about customs, they said to him, "In tomorrow's discussion, you must help us." Thus, the next day at dawn, at the beginning of the discussion, the Prajnaparamita asked the hermit Vasu, "In the sacrifices to the gods, should one not kill living beings and eat their flesh?" The hermit Vasu answered, "The rule of the Brahmans is that living beings must be killed in sacrifices to the gods and their flesh eaten." The Prajnaparamita replied, "According to your own judgment, should living beings be killed and their flesh eaten or not?" The hermit Vasu answered, "As it is a matter of sacrifice to the gods, one should kill living beings and eat their flesh. Indeed, these living beings, having died in sacrifice to the gods, will be able to be reborn in the heavens." The Prajnaparamita exclaimed, "You are greatly mistaken. Your words are untruthful." And they spat upon him, saying, "Criminal, disappear." Immediately the hermit Vasu sank into the earth up to his ankles because he had been the first to open the door to great sins. The Prajnaparamita said to him, "You should speak the truth. If you persist in lying, your whole body will sink into the earth." The hermit Vasu answered, "I know that it is not a sin to kill sheep and eat their meat when it is done for the gods." Immediately he sank into the earth as far as his knees. In this way, he disappeared gradually as far as his thighs, then up to his neck. The Prajnaparamita said, "Now your deceitful speech has received its